every so often we get into these podcast spaces, and there's gentlemen that are in the city of London, Ontario, that are doing some pretty amazing things. My man, Brandon, what's up? How's it going?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to be here. I don't do interviews a lot, so I'm excited.
It's not an interview though; it's a podcast. It's different.
It's a podcast. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
apologize. It's nice.
I
It's a
know.
nice conversation, a
I
recorded
know.
conversation.
Yeah, you already know the vibes. So
Exactly.
let's get into it, man. We're sitting here. All is good. All is well. I gave you a little nudge the night before we recorded this, and I said, "Bring that energy." So you
Oh
ready to
yeah.
bring that energy?
I'm gonna try my best. I'm
All
gonna
right,
try
my
my best. I
man.
got a lot of coffee in my system, so we're gonna work this out.
This coffee? What kind of coffee you take?
Just medium roast, President's Choice, nice and simple.
I like
Just a
that. I
lot of
like
cups
that.
of it. Yeah.
I love it. I love it, my man. I love it. So let's just get right into it. Mixed martial arts for
hmm
you. What does that mean for you? And why did you get started in mixed martial arts?
Well, I started when I was in high school. I was not the most confident of teenagers. I was a little out of shape, kind of didn't really have an outlet other than I do my music stuff, and that was kind of an outlet, but I wasn't doing that very seriously back then either. And I just never found a sport or an outlet to really let myself shine, I guess. I just nothing stuck. I tried a lot of sports in high school and when I was a kid, and nothing really stuck. But finally, my friend asked me to try this kickboxing class with him one time, and when I was in grade 11, and I tried it, and I was um, meeting in one night like a bunch of professional fighters, which I'd never been around, guys like that in my life, and I was pretty excited about it. So I started doing that a little bit, and then I ended up getting a co-op there at Adrenaline MMA for the next semester, and I spent the whole semester there, and I got 4 credits just working behind the desk at a gym, and I hated school, so that was like a dream come true to me, and I was just surrounded by professional fighters, guys who were in the UFC currently, and guys who had just retired from the UFC, and guys that were on the up and up and stuff. And it was just so motivating. And I ended up losing like 30 pounds in that semester just because I was in the gym every day, and gained a lot more confidence. I mean, when I went back to school the next semester after the summer, you know, 30 pounds lighter and knowing how to fight now, there's no excuse not to have a little bit more self confidence after that, right? So no, it felt good. And yeah, it's what it means to me is a good question. It's just an outlet. It's just a way to express myself in a physical way. It's an art form, and it's like any competition. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. It's just a sport to me. I love the sport aspect of it.
You're so well spoken. You know what I mean? For
Oh,
the
thank you.
exchange of words that we've had and things like that. You're so well spoken. So I always have a knack of when I do these podcasts. Man, it's been such a wild ride. It's that 5.5 years doing this, and you find the connections with certain people. You know what I mean?
hmm
And I just knew when I reached out to you and I saw the music thing and all that. We're gonna get into all of that. I was like, there's something here, but I couldn't pinpoint it. But the more that
Yeah.
I see you on IG, the more I see the mixed martial arts. I see you in this ring, man. You're putting these guys to work. You're putting them, you're giving them the business, you know?
I'm trying. I'm trying. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, no. And when you see yourself making these transitions and things like that, was there one particular individual that helped mentor you to really strap up the boots going into this realm of mixed martial arts for yourself?
Sam Stout,
Hmm.
100%. I know you're from London. You're from London originally too,
Born
right?
and raised. And here's the funny thing before you answer this. Me and
Yeah.
Sam went to high school, but I never knew who Sam was
Oh, really?
until it's going to sound crazy, not to interrupt. I was at Good Life Fitness downtown a while
hmm
back, and he walked in front of me, and I see this man this guy's a beast like a rock, and I'm like, and he turns around, and he goes, Rory, how's it going? How are you? Good to see you. And I'm like, wait, you know me, man? Like, I don't remember you. You know what I mean? But it's always
Yeah.
love and peace to him. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's a great guy, man. He's the guy when I did the co-op. I was just always talking with him behind the desk and stuff. And I had watched a bunch of all their fights and stuff, and he was always kind of my favorite to watch out of all the guys that had fought at the gym. So I just kind of asked him one time if he wanted to hold pads for me, and if he could teach me, and I started training with him. And there was just like a very obvious click with him. And even now, I mean, like I think like he is one of those people in my life that I can like specifically pinpoint where like half of my confidence and self-esteem comes from. Like he taught me how to fight, and he taught me a lot about life and just being kind of a laid back fun guy. You know, he doesn't take himself too seriously in sport and in life, and I'm very similar to that. And I think we have a lot of the same outlooks on things, and a lot of differences too. I don't live my life exactly the way he did at all, but he's a very special person to me, and we've just become really good friends. And especially as like when you're a 17, 16-year old kid and a 30 plus athlete, like professional athlete that you're looking up to, is like, giving you a good amount of attention and really pushing you in the sport that you want to pursue. It means the world, right? It's not everybody gets to say that a guy at the highest level like actually was there for them at the amateur level, right? So yeah, he's turned into one of my best friends, and he continues. He's still in my corner for every fight. I still train with him multiple times a week. I see him every day at the gym, and we're training people together now. So it's cool.
I love that, and it
Yeah.
shows you the amount of talent that's in this city, London,
Hmm.
Ontario. You know what I mean? And shout out to Sam Stout. You know what I mean? Especially the career with the UFC, things like that. I see the success with the gym, with Adrenaline, and like what
Hmm.
you guys are doing over there is very special, right? For men and women, especially in the
Yeah.
city. And it's like you can see it's like a brotherhood, a sisterhood. You know what I mean? I've never stepped in the confines of those doors, but you can just the people that I've interacted with that have been in those doors have said all the same things. Like a brotherhood, it's like a sisterhood.
Yeah.
So
It's a
it's
big
good to
family. It's
be,
a big
yeah,
family.
no, for
Yeah.
sure. When you go to that gym, what is what is something that you do with yourself that you use as your escape? Say, for instance, you're having a day. Maybe it's putting that music together, writing that next, platinum hit that's coming soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm all about manifestation and things like that. But how do you, when you go into that gym, what does that switch look like for you? How does that switch turn off?
Well, I think a lot of people are surprised that a lot of people that don't know a whole lot about fighting or haven't been around a lot of fighters really do view fighters as this kind of stereotypical testosterone fueled, like meathead, and that's still like a big stereotype. And honestly, I don't really think I'm any different in the gym or outside of the gym. I'd like to think I'm a pretty nice guy in both aspects. Even when I'm like, beating up on my training partners or getting beaten up by my training partners, I'm pretty chill about it. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. Um, I like to work out and exercise, and this is the way I like to do it. There is a little bit of, you get a little ego competition with the guys that you train with, and it becomes a little bit more, I don't know, like there's a little bit more of a chip on your shoulder with some people when you're training with them and stuff. But honestly, everybody at Adrenaline is like super, super laid back with each other, and there's not a lot of ego getting thrown around. At least not with the people that I choose to be around. So I honestly, I don't think there really is a switch. I just, as long as I'm motivated on that day, I'm gonna show up and just do what I'm supposed to do. I'm gonna listen to my coaches, and I'm just gonna train the way I want to train, and I'm gonna be like my sweet self about it. Still,
Love that,
even
man.
if I'm punching you in the head, still gonna say thanks for the round afterwards and high five them and hug them, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
Thinking outside of the gym, UFC, it's big. It's big. It's worldwide. It's everywhere. They're
yeah.
traveling all over different places. Is there that one fighter that you like to watch on pay per view or UFC fight night, or who's that fighter?
Yeah, there's a lot. It's hard for me not to say. I mean, it's kind of a cop out if I say one of the guys from the gym, because there are a couple guys still fighting, and it's different when you have a personal relationship with them. But obviously, like guys like Jesse Ronson, Malcolm Gordon, and some guys that are not in the UFC. But those guys from the gym, obviously, I'm going to watch every single one of their fights. But I think one guy's Dustin Poirier, who's in the UFC. Like I don't know if you're a big UFC fan, but he's
I'm a
fought
big
everybody.
UFC guy. Come on now,
I don't know.
man. We
I
could
don't
talk
know. We've
about
never talked
that.
about it.
It's all good.
But Dustin Poirier is huge for me. I don't. There's something about his style, and he always donates half of his like purse and donates his gear from the fight and auctions it off for different charities. And there's just something very. He's got like a very strong family mentality, and then but he's also just like the biggest dog. Like he's got a lot of technique. He's super skilled, but he is not afraid for just like having an all out gunfight and just like scrapping, like sloppy fights, And I love that. There's just he's kind of got the best of everything, where he'll talk a little smack every once in a while, but it's mostly very respectful. But he's gonna go in and give you a war, which I love that. I kind of like that duality of it.
That's good. I thought you were gonna say, maybe like a Connor somewhere there, or maybe the Bronx, Charles Oliveira, somebody like
I,
that.
I do I do love Connor. I love Charles, but Poirier, I don't know. There's something about him. He's always got a special place in my heart.
Yeah, he's humble too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Is there any of those fighters that you'd like to like maybe have a same setup like this? Pick their brain, have a chance, sit across from them. It could be lunch, dinner, conversation.
Yeah.
Is that one fighter?
I think George St. Pierre would be that guy for me. The Canadian legend himself. I know a bunch of the guys from Adrenaline have trained with him and stuff, and I've never heard a bad word about him in like the public eye when other celebrities or other fighters are talking about him, and with people I know that are talking about him. Everybody just has nothing but kind words to say, and I think he's got a very weird and specific brain for this kind of sport. He's very calculated, and he didn't really make many mistakes in the octagon, and I think it was because he was so dialed in. And I think it'd be really cool to talk to him about some of that sports psychology and fight IQ stuff with him. That'd be pretty cool.
And I'd love to see him sit in the chair and announce some of these fights also too. I think that'd be a good look.
Yeah,
Because the
yeah.
high
I think
high
you know
fight
what.
IQ like that, you could really do something different to the UFC.
100%. I think he actually was doing that for a bit with like TSN in Quebec. So it was like he was doing all like the French commentary and stuff like that. So it doesn't really help me, but get it retranslated back to English. Yeah.
No, no, so true, so true. So making that transition, I know it's a hard stop, but transition.
Mhm.
Music, you're a big
Mhm.
music guy. I see you strumming that guitar, man. Where
Yeah.
did that start? You know what I mean? Like, how does that play within the realm of what you're doing?
Well, that's like I mean, music's really my first love. I grew up with a pretty musical household. My dad was kind of a campfire musician. Like there was always multiple guitars in the house, him singing all of his kids to sleep most nights and stuff. So I grew up with a lot of music just constantly being played in the house, whether it was him or the record player, the CD player, or the radio. And I learned how to play guitar from a really young age through him and through some lessons, but I mostly taught myself. I'm not really good at listening to teachers and stuff. So yeah, and I've heard from my parents that when I was like a toddler, I would sing myself to sleep, and like they could hear me from my room just singing constantly at night. So I think I've always just kind of been I've always been whistling my way through life. I've been humming my way through life. So I didn't take it super seriously until maybe high school. I started doing the coffee houses and stuff that I went to Medway, and they did like every semester they did a little coffee house to showcase some talent, and I always did those. And I like to say I'm a bit of an attention whore, so I like the spotlight. So I when I would do that, I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. Everybody's looking at me and everybody's clapping. So
I
that's
couldn't
when I
tell you like
kind
the attention. I couldn't tell. I just thought you just.
of yeah, I know I hide it well. I'm sure. Yeah. But then I did music at Fanch. I did the music industry arts program. I knew I couldn't go to school for anything else. I'm just not a school guy. So I took a year off after high school, and then I did the MIA program there, and found out that hey, I could actually make some money doing this at a small scale. You can make good money. You don't have to be rich and famous. Like you don't have to be like a famous musician to make money in the music industry at all. So it was a very practical approach to making money in the music industry, and yeah, now it's my main source of income. It's the thing I put the least amount of hours in technically, right? Like gigging live music. It's not like it's a 9 to 5 job, but it's the thing I can charge the most for, and it's the thing that's most sought after, I guess, that I do. So yeah, and I did not think that would be the case anytime soon, but I've turned it into a pretty decent business for myself, and yeah, and I'm still writing music and trying to release some more soon. And it's a I'm pretty much playing music every day. So
You say soon, like soon when? Soon next month? Soon next year? Next
we
summer?
shall
What are we
see.
thinking?
I've taken a long break from releasing music. I only released one song, and it was in last September. So I took a long break, but I have a huge back catalog now of written songs all year that I've been writing. But I actually just talked to a buddy of mine who has a studio set up, and I'm going to try to get him to produce the next one. And I actually just met another guy too who kind of offered a studio up to me in London. So I'm thinking I'm going to meet with my buddy Dan McGonigal, who's also a very, very talented local musician. I'm going to meet up with him this week, and we're going to kind of get into pre-production on this one tune that I just wrote. So we're going to hopefully crank this out in a month or two. I'm hoping to release one before my birthday in December. So
Yeah. So for the first time, people that are listening to you and they're going to go navigate the music and things like that, what is the type of music, the style of music that you get into and that you're wanting to get across with your message?
if it's my original music, it's very I would say like alternative indie. It's a little folky. I always have a hard time kind of narrowing down exactly what genre I play, especially because I spend so much time doing covers of music because that's kind of my job when I do live music at bars and stuff. I'm not going to just play for 3 hours all my own stuff. That's not what people are here to listen to, right? They're here to sing along to songs that they know and stuff. So I I play so many different genres while I'm doing covers. It's kind of like changed the way I play music for my own stuff too. It's kind of like I feel like I've kind of played every genre, and I can kind of sing a lot of different genres, and which is actually good because it's like one day I'll write kind of an R&B sounding song, and the next day I'll write a very very folky, like a folk song that sounds like Bob Dylan wrote it. You know, like that kind of vibe to it. So I'm kind of all over the place, which I love because I think the next song that I release is going to sound a lot different than my first single, and I'm really excited about that. And I think it's going to be a little bit more accessible to a wider audience. My first single Pieces was pretty long and kind of like it wasn't very accessible to the average listener, if you know what I'm saying. You know, like it
No,
was
I get it.
pretty long song and very very artsy for myself. You know.
No. It makes sense. It makes sense. So we're thinking what, Junos sometime soon? A
I don't
year
know
from
about
now?
soon. I
Two
don't know
years
about
from
soon.
now?
Maybe. I look. I'm one of those guys that I make small goals, and I just am constantly making small goals. I try not to look too far into the future. For me, that kind of stresses me out, and I'm a big just like roll with the punches kind of guy. You know, I'm just gonna take if there's an opportunity, I'm just gonna jump at it. And yeah, I just keep working on these small goals and just keep building. And I feel like my platform is getting bigger. I'm getting more exposure every week, every month, and getting more eyes on me. And the more eyes, the more people that I can share my music with, and MMA stuff too. Like, the more eyes, the better, right? So that's all I'm really focused on right now is getting getting myself out to as many people as possible.
No, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
What would you tell the old you, as you were being this man, this young man right now? What's one thing you would do is give a piece of feedback to the old self, the old you?
Um, that's a very good question. I think I'd tell him to relax a little bit. I'd be like, hey man, it's all gonna be fine. Like I wasn't the happiest kid in high school, you know. I had some pretty strong self-esteem issues and stuff, and didn't have much success with girls and didn't have much success in my own mind, and I was sleeping horribly, and I was probably smoking too much weed and just kind of all over the place. You know, it's high school. It's not like I'm the only person who's ever dealt with that kind of stuff. But
Of course, we all
I
been
would
there.
probably, yeah, exactly. I'd probably just say, hey man, it'll work out. Just say yes to things and work on what you actually love to do. Because believe it or not, everybody's telling you that you're gonna have to get a 9 to 5 job, and you're 21 and you're your own boss. So relax a little bit. It works out.
How old are you now? You only what? How old now?
I'm 21.
I couldn't tell. I
That's
couldn't tell. You know, I
good.
sit here and I look at you and I'm like, he
Yeah.
talks good, looks
Hmm.
good. You know, I ain't coming on to you or nothing like that. And I'm like,
I appreciate it.
So he gotta be. I'm pegging you at like 27, 28 at least.
Nah, I'll be 22 in December.
Maturity, man.
I'm
Mature for
trying.
your age. I love that.
Thank you.
I
I
love that.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. I think the beard right now, ups the
Beard.
age factor a little bit. This kind
I
of
hear
like
you.
shoddy beard, yeah.
The shoddy beard. Um, is there any books, self development, that you've ever tapped into?
Um, I'm trying to. I go through phases of reading. I love the Fred Factor. My roommate Adam, he just kind of lent it to me one time. It's very small book, and it's honestly it's really just about I forget the author's name, but it's just about a guy who's a mailman, and he kind of just went the extra step, extra mile for every single person that he delivered mail for, and it it kind of just ended up changing his life because this guy wrote a book about him, and then this guy that wrote the book interviewed a bunch of other people who like basically told once they read the Fred story, they told the author about another guy who goes above and beyond in his job, and then he just collected all these stories of people who basically go so far more than what you'd expect for that role, and it's basically just about how no matter what you do, just try your best to like go 110% for anything, whether you're making $100,000 a year or 10,000. It's like like work 100%, give it your best, and have a good attitude towards it. And I love that because I think I'm a pretty glass half full guy for the most part. And those days that I don't feel like that, I just kind of think about the Fred factor and stuff like that. Where you got to think about that stuff where it's like, man, it's not that bad. I still like what I'm doing. I'm gonna screw the negative thoughts and let's go 110% again.
I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah,
So before we, I want to make this short and intimate between you and me.
100%.
Before we get out of here,
Hmm.
what can you tell the young men that are growing up, watching your success? Right, could be family, friends. I know you're in the hospitality industry, things like that. People see you. You know, what could you give them if it was one tool to be 1% better going into 2023?
Um, be kinder to people.
Mm,
If you think you're, if I think that's the biggest thing for me is I think if you think that you're a relatively polite and good person. That's probably true, but I think that everybody can make a little bit more of a difference. I'm a big just like spread positivity kind of person. I know like I love complimenting people. I love doing favors that are in my capability for people, and sometimes people I don't really know that well. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. It's not like I'm doing that 24/7. Nobody can do that, but I think just being genuinely kinder to people, I think is everybody can do more. I can do more. You can do more. Everybody, the Dalai Lama, I'm sure, can be a little nicer to people sometimes. So
so true.
I think that's the
So
biggest thing,
true.
and I think opportunities come from that. Honestly, I think there's been a lot of times where I've had opportunities given to me just because somebody told somebody that I was a decent guy, and so that person gave me an opportunity and gave me a shot at something just because somebody else told them that I was a nice enough guy for it. And so I think that's a huge thing. You're going to get more opportunities. You're going to meet more people. I
No,
think
it's
it's
so true.
huge.
And I
Yeah.
think it's missed. It's a missed thing. I don't know what's going on with the world and society. Um,
Yeah.
we just need more gratitude, more thank yous, and just
Hmm.
more positive people because believe it or not, it's not about good karma comes back to you, but I believe it's one of the biggest things is when you play it forward, like you said, those opportunities come your way. And when those opportunities come your way, those create more opportunities for other people and create more opportunities for yourself. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you saying
100%.
that. Yeah.
100%. I think you're somebody who's really good at that too. I see you talking to everybody when we're out at the bar and stuff, and I tried to be like that too. No matter there's no expectations when you're talking to somebody. You just have a conversation, actually listen to people, and like it's a
You
lot
get
easier than
those.
you think.
It's funny you said that because I try to keep quiet with my 9 to 5 because people know exactly in the city where I work, where I used to work, but I still work for the company, but I'm behind the scenes
Okay.
now.
Okay.
And it's crazy of how many people you touch that
Mm.
could have come in contact with you, and you're like, "Hey, you helped me with this, or you did this, you did that, and da 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 da," and it just other people that are around you see, it and they're like, "How do you know that person?" I'm like, "Hey, it's something," or people come up to you and they're like, "You're that guy that does that, or you do this," and I'm like, yeah, and I just downplay it a lot because it's like it's not about me, but I get it.
Yeah.
Like people see a lot of great things. I always say is when you
Yeah.
go certain places in the world, always leave an imprint, right? Because there's going to be other people that know you and they speak highly of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the most important thing there. So,
I got really good advice from, I don't know if you've ever heard of the name Leo Laux. He's a
nope.
world champion kickboxer from London, and he is a retired police officer. And he told me, he said, just give everybody your absolute best, no matter who you meet. And he's a pretty wise guy. So I listened to that I think he told me that when I was like 17. I was about to go on a trip to Europe, and he was just like, no matter who you meet, give them your absolute best. Like that, you don't want anybody to ever have something bad to say about you. So, yeah, I think that's huge, and I think me and you are very similar. We kind of do very, I don't want to say niche things, but we have interests, and our jobs are pretty specific. Not everybody does podcasts, and not everybody does music and MMA and stuff. So, when we already have like a good conversation starter, right? And I think as soon as you are talking to people and you do have stuff to say, but you still make it about them and you kind of listen to them, that's when people really appreciate it. And I see that at the bar with people all the time. We haven't really gone over, but I bounce at Delilah's downtown, and yeah, it's I meet a lot of people that way, but I just try to make the conversation about them as much as possible. As hard as that is sometimes, because I do love talking about myself, but that's why I did this.
No, and that's the thing, man. And you know what? It's so interesting when you're in that scene. There's a lot
Mhm.
of us that see you reoccurring and things like, oh, you go out every night or you go out every weekend. And it's like, it's a social experience. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Sometimes it's not even all about drinking. Sometimes it's just like you go in, you say, what's up to the people? Hey, you bada bing, bada boom, grab a bite to eat, and then you leave, you know?
yeah. Humans need that.
Of course.
I Sometimes you want to go and flirt with some girls. Sometimes you just want to hang out with the boys. Sometimes you just want to get some food and you talk to yourself, right? Like
This guy,
like
you,
doesn't
you, you
matter.
want to you wanna start a relationship episode, and we ain't going to do that just right now, you know?
Yeah, I know. I've listened to some of the episodes. I was like, wow, he likes talking to dating coaches. I hope he doesn't ask me anything about
No,
that.
man. Listen, man. We just have these conversations. I always say it's like about conscious conversations with me now, right?
Mhm.
So it goes through everything in life, right?
Yeah,
Relationships, business, content creation, and just celebrating some badass people in London, Ontario, Canada. You know what I
yeah, I
mean?
love that,
So
man.
yeah, for
Seriously,
sure.
I really appreciate you having me on. Seriously.
Yeah, man. No, it's always love. So what's upcoming? Where can people check out the old music and things like that?
Well, Instagram is kind of my main social media that I use. So Brendan Sutton, Brendan dot underscore dot Sutton on Instagram. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music. I have a song that I released last year called Pieces. It's out everywhere. Whatever you use for music, it should be there. It's under my name as well. It's Brendan Sutton. And yeah, if you want an MMA fighter to come sing for you sometime, hit me up
I
and
love it.
just DM me on Instagram, and I got you.
Yeah. So real quick, because I know we're in the same city, right, and
Yeah.
things like that. When's the next time you're playing the live music that people can come check you out?
Well, this is what's today? Sunday the
October
16th,
16th. Yeah.
October 16th. So I'm playing at Sweet Onion Bistro tomorrow night, 6 to 9 in Byron, and I play at Delilah's downtown every single Tuesday, at about 8:30 till midnight. And Wednesday, I'm also playing at Sweet Onion Bistro in Byron at 6 to 9 again. So I play like 2 or 3 times a week, pretty much every week. So those are the
Perfect.
next 3 nights for me. I'll be at Sweet Onion Bistro in Delilah's.
I love that. I love that. Well, I appreciate you. And I'll catch you on the flip side, my man.
I appreciate you, man. Seriously, I'm sure I'll see you soon.
I'm pretty sure you will.